What is up, YouTube? Today we're gonna do a really cool review of my special Toyota Tacoma here. Believe it or not, it's got 60,000 miles on it. Now let's go take a look. Now I'm gonna break this review into three different categories. The cosmetics, like the exterior, the paint, and then the interior, like all of the different components on the inside. And then we're gonna look at the mechanical side, and then also how is it to drive 60,000 miles later. Let's go take a look. Now in terms of the exterior, the paint is in really good condition. All of these black sections, trim pieces are all in place. I've taken this thing all the way from Colorado to salty winter to Bakersfield, California for about a month and a half at 115-degree weather. And you can see all of this is still in really good condition. So A plus for all the materials, including the frame and underneath side, is still really good, including not having that much rust. It's actually pretty dang clean under there, except I do like to power wash my truck underneath. If I was in a snowstorm or something, I would power wash it all the time. You can see I got a crack here. It's actually a bicyclist, when I was parked, just ran into the side of me and just cracked my rear bumper. Thank God they didn't hit the side of my bed or something, but everything's good there. Poor quality on the outside that I believe that isn't very good is this tailgate. I mean, you can see it's just real nicked and just beat up. I had a dirt bike ramp on it, and you can see it's just hasn't held up at all. It's kind of a softer plastic. You can see it's pretty beat up. But the actual composite bed, though, is held up really well. I mean, I really use this truck pretty dang hard in the bed. I mean, you can see these bed stiffeners, even the powder coat's chipped and rusted. Back there, that one's rusted as well a little bit. But, you know, this bed has been going through the ringer, and this composite bed is a positive, and I'm glad they're using it in the new 2022 Tundras. So keep that up. I really like that. Even this plastic was held up pretty good, but I would just say on the exterior, you can even kind of hear it's kind of popping off and everything. This little section right here is no-go. Pretty easy part to replace as well, so I'm probably going to do that at some point here. Door panels, everything holding up really good there. The only problem, the real gripe I have about this truck is these seats. Now, every time you spill a little bit of water on them, it just stains the seat. You can see it's like I have a little tiny stain because I spilled water on my road trip driving 2,400 miles. You spill water on the seats and it stains. Not even having any coffee or anything. But leather trim steering wheel, perfect condition. For the dashboard, there's this really weird angle, and once you get a little bit of scratches on it and the sun's hitting it, you can see all the scratches. Definitely not the best part of the interior. I did put a little bit of plastic protectant on here, just like what you do on your screen protector, and I've protected this from being scratched, which has worked out flawlessly. But all the other soft touches and everything have held up really well. Haven't had any problems there. So interior, besides that, is a plus. Now in terms of maintenance, pretty simple. All you do is change the oil. Nothing too hard on this thing. The only thing I truly had to change from the factory was the windshield wipers, and I did that literally 3 weeks ago. So the windshield wipers have lasted about almost 4 years now. So pretty impressive. That's the only thing I changed out. Maintenance is pretty simple, as you could guess. Let's go to the more interesting topic, and let's talk about how this thing actually drives. Off-roading is definitely one of the more fun parts of the Toyota Tacoma. This truck really does go anywhere off-roading. Now, I didn't say rock crawling. I mean, there's better vehicles like that, Jeep Wranglers. But in terms of a truck, this is a phenomenal rig to take camping and actually get you where you want. So here's a good example, a little bit of rock crawling, a little bit of sliding here. Having a good time out in Moab, Utah. You can see I diff out right here, but nothing the truck can't handle. You get where you are going at some point. You might not go there as fast as some other rigs, but you're definitely going to get there and have a great time at the end of the day. You can see I'm actually diffing out, but since I don't have that rear locker, the truck's just using the brakes. And like I said, you're going to get there to your favorite spot and have a great time. Now, for towing and hauling, I say the truck does fairly well for a couple of reasons. Mainly because of the gear ratio, you're just downshifting all the time. Now, this approximately 3,000 pound boat with the trailer, it's a really low profile. It tows phenomenally well with the Tacoma. I feel comfortable taking it on like a long road trip and taking it down to Lake Powell for a long weekend or something, on a 5-6 hour drive. That is no problem on something like this. Even a small boat like this little dinghy I had, super easy to tow with. I didn't even notice it was behind there. Maybe I only lost 2 or 3 mpgs, but the truck, I couldn't even feel it. The biggest test to my truck was the 4,500 pound dry weight RV tandem axle trailer that I had. And if you just took it easy, went 55, 65 on the highway, fourth gear with the ECT power, I had no problems. Going up hills, I would probably slow down to like 50 miles an hour, but it did the job. I wouldn't want to go long distance. I wouldn't want to go longer than 3 hours with it, and I didn't, but it did do the job. Don't get anywhere close to the max towing rating with the Toyota Tacomas. That's my only recommendation there. All right, the question you've all been waiting for is, how does this thing drive? And you know what? This is probably the hardest part about this review, because sometimes it just doesn't drive that great. I'm going to be real honest. It's not really meant for that. It's meant for being reliable, being a good solid truck when you need it to be a truck. But driving on the highway, if you have any sort of incline or headwind, you're downshifting. That's just the end of the story. So I just drove 2,300 miles from California to Florida, and it definitely was bogging sometimes. And then once I had a little tailwind or it was flat, the thing drove good and I had 20 miles a gallon. So it just kind of depends on how you're driving. Underneath like 65 miles an hour, it does good. Off-road, it does amazing. As a truck, I'm like super impressed. I've taken this thing tons of different places. It's a really good truck, just all around. But it's just not that top tier highway driver. The best thing to do right now is subscribe, especially if you enjoyed the video. Please hit that like button, and we will see you next time for some sort of car, boat video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.